Welcome to the EpicVerse Podcast, where curiosities and theories run wild about the strange and spectacular and everything in between. And now, your hosts, JosiahRises, Benjamin, and Epic Mike.
Welcome back, everyone, to another EpicVerse Podcast episode. And this time around, for the first time ever in the history of this epic podcast, we have ourselves a guest, Amanda C. Miller.
Yo, what up, nerds?
How's it going?
The way you say the C. Miller, it sounded like you said Smiller. Amanda Smiller.
Amanda Smiller.
Amanda Smiller!
Reliving
maybe
my
she
middle
does
school
smell.
days again.
You ever ask her if she does smell or not?
Smell.
Maybe she does. Maybe she is a smeller.
What the fuck is a smell?
It's a,
Is that like a Smurf?
Geschminken, geschmorkels.
it's a glandular
It's just fucking
condition.
schweifen.
So, Amanda, I have to ask you before we get anywhere else on this
Hold on.
podcast, because
Yeah,
this is an
okay,
important question.
Wait a minute.
So-
why were you doing the radio DJ intro? I've never heard you do that before.
Because we have a guest, I wanted to make it a little bit special, you know?
You're gonna
Freaking
scare people. You're gonna
cringe.
scare off any other potential guests we have. Hello, we're here.
You're
And
like,
I was
hey, you want to check out this one episode where we had another guest on? They're like, yeah, I'm never going on that podcast.
guest monster truck rally.
Started to sound like Shaggy.
Sunday. Yeah.
But I have an important question for you, Amanda. All right?
Oh.
You ready for this?
Maybe.
Do you smell?
I smell a lot. Smell
Yes.
all day,
Good.
every day.
Awesome. Cool.
It's a genetic condition. Don't make fun of my smell.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear that, Ben?
I never made fun of anybody smelling.
Yeah, you did, Ben. I saw the judgment. What is this
But,
smell? I
I
don't
don't
understand.
I don't
You
know.
just made it up.
You made it into a thing, Mike. Good job.
I didn't make it into a thing. You're the one that said...
You're
Never
like,
mind.
oh, you sound like you
Yeah,
said
you know what?
smelling.
Fine.
And I
This
was
is
like,
my fault.
well,
I'll take
we'll
it.
just run with it, you know?
I'll become the villain. It's fine.
The
You are the
smellin'.
villain.
Yeah, I'll become the smelling. This...
But it's awesome having you here, Amanda.
Yes.
Thank
Thanks
you for being
having
here.
me.
Yeah. How does it feel being the very first guest on the EpicVerse podcast?
Smells a little bit.
Wow.
God damn it.
Josiah started something.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm going to Google that.
The issue
We'll
is
see
I
if-
can
Don't
just
do
see
that,
Ben. I can
I
see
just
Ben bringing
did.
this up for a while.
All right. Smell.
Okay, here we go.
Don't,
An
please don't.
abbreviation of something else, similar to awesome or fantastic. A supervised version of swell.
Oh,
Don't listen to these people. My grandmother used this word before that boy was even born. Perhaps influenced by Kate. What?
Where are
Perhaps
you
it was
going?
Alzheimer's. I don't know.
Alzheimer's.
Wow. Okay.
You
Well,
should have just stopped when we were ahead of it.
I
We
started
got from
reading
awesome to Alzheimer's real fast.
Yeah.
it. Started reading and I was questioning everything as I read it. So
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Well, you should have stopped way earlier
Well,
than that.
you know,
to be honest,
It's okay.
I think that's really in line with our podcast because questioning everything is what we do.
That's
right.
exactly it. That's what we're all
nice
about
transition.
Yeah, we like to
Questioning
question everything.
everything.
Speaking of questioning everything,
here. Yeah.
I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
We've never talked about this ever on our podcast before.
Okay.
So I'm
Really?
sure this question has never been asked before.
okay.
Do you guys believe in ghosts?
We actually have talked about this.
Yeah, I know
First-
we have.
first
That was the
off-
joke. I know because I've known we've talked.
Okay.
Yeah.
First off, Michael, I what? Did you just invalidate all of my ghost stories?
Don't you
I'm going to
remember
be honest. I don't remember
Ben
that you've
giving,
ever told any ghost stories.
Ben
ever.
was giving his heart-to-heart
What are you
ghost
doing,
stories.
Ben?
That was the ghost. Duh.
I actually don't remember that. Ben. I know we talked
Wow.
about ghosts.
Look,
I do
it's
not remember any story.
this is
that
how
Ben has
much
ever
Mike
told.
cares
so
about
funny.
me and my stories. He just
Yeah.
forgets about them.
I
Hey,
don't.
Ben, do you have any ghost stories?
Ben, have you
Ah.
ever told a ghost story in your life?
I have actually. Yeah.
I was going to use the line from what is it?
But
The Wizard of Oz, but that line is kind of problematic.
what I want to know
Oh, yeah.
though
Yeah.
is if our guest has any ghost stories. Amanda, do you have any ghost stories? Do you believe in ghosts, first off? That's the first real
Holy
question.
cow, Ben! Just like flood the guest with questions.
You got to start somewhere.
Well, you did-
Yes. and yes. I think you
Oh.
only asked 2 questions, but I did.
But
Gave
that's
a
okay.
third
Just
yes.
throw an
Well, now
extra
you
yes
got
out
all
there.
your bases covered
Yeah.
now, so that's good.
That covers any future questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
So don't ask anything pervy.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you like feet?
No,
Got her.
no one would like my feet right now. I have it like wrapped in a bandage because I was making gumbo yesterday and I burnt the roux and then I dumped it out and it splashed
Oh,
up on my
no.
foot and now I have
Oh,
second
man.
degree burns on my foot and I look like Quasimodo.
So you are a ghost.
Yeah,
imagine
I
like,
died in that accident.
yeah, like of all the ways to hurt yourself, you're like, oh, how did you get that? Making gumbo.
Making that gumbo.
Yeah, I was
That-
making gumbo.
That
That
does.
gumbo will get you.
That feels like a good way to die, though. I always said that I wanted to die in a really interesting way, so that like when
Yeah.
people heard that I died, they'd be sad, but then they'd laugh a little bit and they'd be like, "Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Amanda."
Yeah,
So like
Yeah,
that.
she
That's,
just she
I
slipped in the
respect
kitchen and just dumped boiling gumbo on herself and just died instantly.
The gumbo killed her.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or like you dumped the gumbo and burned yourself, but you swallowed a shrimp and choked to death on it.
Right. the gumbo. I survived that part. It was the shrimp choking
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, I do believe in ghosts, and I also have a couple stories, but I feel like they're lame compared to some of the stories I've heard from people where they're like, "Yeah, and then I saw a bloody nurse standing at the foot of my bed."
Oh yeah, I don't have stories like
Mhm.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, Ben's stories weren't that cool.
So you're good. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty forgettable because Mike obviously doesn't remember
Wow.
anything from them.
They're just
I kind
generic.
of remember one of his stories vaguely, but
I just remember Ben was like walking downstairs or something.
yes, I do remember that one.
Yeah.
I don't remember what happened. Like the the most interesting thing of that story was Ben was walking down the stairs.
Yes.
I don't
Walking.
remember.
Ben was like, I was walking one day, ghosts, and we're like, wow,
The end.
yeah.
So get this.
No,
Ghosts.
don't tell it again, Ben.
It's okay. I'm not.
We want them to go back and listen to that episode.
There you go. Yes. But I mean, even if it isn't as interesting as some of the other stories out there, what is your experience with ghosts?
I mean, again, it's one of those things where somebody might say, "Well, that was actually," they can find ways to explain things, but
Sure. Well,
yeah,
yeah.
I've
We
definitely
don't
had
like those people.
Yeah, screw those
No.
people. They're no fun.
Yeah.
I would say one of my more recent experiences was first of all, Savannah is very scary as a city. Like if you've ever been there, there's just like a weird vibe about it. It's just kind of a heavy vibe. And I don't know, have you guys ever been there? Or
Mm.
I've
been to
Savannah.
I think I've driven through it, but I've
been
never
to
actually
Atlanta.
stopped.
But that story was it was not a ghost story. It was something else. So
Atlanta's different. Savannah's like 3 hours away, and it's like, I don't know, there's a lot of death that happened there or something, but like you can feel it. So
Oh,
Oh, geez.
I
Nice.
was
hey Ben, what are you doing with your mic, bro?
Nothing.
Something's banging against your mic, man. And you're
Oh,
the
Cool.
it's probably my hand. It's probably my hand.
It's the ghost. Yeah, I was like, are
Yeah.
you just like?
yeah. It's yeah.
I
Stop.
was just slightly distracted, Ben. It's fine. Ghost stories, Amanda.
yeah.
Keep your hands in
so
your lap.
One time I was actually driving to a ghost tour, which is like my favorite thing to do whenever I go to a new city is to like go on a ghost tour. Cause it's like, even if you don't believe in them, it's fun. It's like a fun,
Yeah.
spooky night. You get to see the city a little bit. You get to hear some stories. You get to see the architecture and be like, yeah, I saw all the main things there are to see. So I went to Savannah and I was going on a ghost tour. It was like 9:00 at night or something. And my Google Maps was saying, okay, turn on to Old Skidaway Road, which I'm like, that feels like one of those roads that should have been renamed after the 50s. Like, that sounds like, that like a road that people would have died on. Like teenagers would have wrapped their car around a tree on Old Skidaway Road and then they just changed it to Main Street. But the
Yeah.
ghost of the kid still roams there or something. So anyway, I turned onto Old Skidaway Road and Google Maps is like, all right, so keep going straight for 1 mile. So I'm like, okay, cool. And then within like maybe 10 seconds, I have to slam on my brakes because there is no more mile. Like the road goes like this. So I was going this way and the road just like ends and a car like went vroom, right across. And I was like, ah. And I have a picture of it. I can like send it to you guys if I can find it. But it's basically what was ahead, if I'd kept going straight, was the Bonaventure Cemetery. And I looked down and I have a Prius because I'm a little bit gay, I guess. And I have my dashboard disappeared. Like it was like an electronic dashboard and the screen is just blank.
What?
And it was just, and then like my Google Maps like recalculated and was like, oh, turn left. But like, it was very like, no, go straight for 1 mile. Like very confidently.
No.
Really?
If I had, I would have just like, been hit sideswiped by that car and then ended up in the cemetery.
Do you
No
think
way.
people You said it was a cliff?
No, not a cliff. It's just
Okay.
a road.
It was
going
just
out.
a road just went
Oh,
into
God.
the cemetery.
No.
I
Ben.
completely... I
Where are
completely
you?
fabricated a cliff in that
He's
story.
like, dude, Amanda told about this story and she almost drove off a cliff and a car was floating in the air past and it
Right.
was...
There's like a cliff between the road and the cemetery. You have to like jump
Yep.
it to be worthy.
Get to it.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
We'll just add that to the story. There is a
Cool.
cliff now.
There was a cliff at one point.
That is
yes.
super weird though. Like, had you kept going, you would have got sideswept by a car.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
right
and
next
then
to
I
the
would have
cemetery.
been dead, and then the
Maybe-
cemetery would have welcomed me.
Well,
Been-
because you're driving a Prius, which is basically made out of plastic and
Yeah.
tissue
Yeah.
paper.
Yep.
This
Yeah.
is true. Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe
Wow.
people have died there a lot, and that's why they put the cemetery right there. They're like, you know what? They all just died here. So
They just
like,
put the
oh,
cemeteries
God.
where the bodies were found, just like of
Yeah,
dead
just
people
like,
in cars.
Well, I guess we're just gonna bury them right here. I mean, it's an open plot of land. Yeah.
So interesting. So you said your screen like went blank.
Yeah, on my dashboard on my Prius, it's like electronic, and it just went
Yeah.
and
I
like
got
for,
scared too. It was like, I don't like what's
Yeah,
happening.
no, I'm out. I'm out.
No, thank you.
Now, fam, I'd rather just be not on for this. That's kind of nuts, actually. That is like a really creepy story.
And when I got back to
Interesting.
Atlanta, it came back. So I don't know if it was just like maybe, or somebody might say, oh, the magnetic fields in Savannah might be different, and that might have done it. You know, like it might have been something explainable, but it's just the
But what are the chances?
like the coincidence of that many things happening.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, especially the name of that road. I don't like that at all.
Yeah,
That's,
old Skidaway Road, like
Yeah. No.
WTF, man.
Somebody was like, you know what? I'm gonna name this road Skidaway, and that's normal.
Yeah, that's not creepy at all. To be
Yeah,
like,
no.
nope, no foreshadowing here.
That's kind of nuts. Do you have any other ghost stories? That was pretty good. Better than
Yeah.
Ben's.
That was pretty good.
But
Yeah.
like, what else you got? Show
What
me
else
your
you got?
goods.
Tell us. Yeah.
Yikes.
I do have I don't know. I don't actually think my house is that haunted, but it's a little bit haunted. It's like minorly haunted.
Gotcha.
Oh.
So like
okay.
I bought it in like 2020, and little things here and there, like I'd hear like little noises, but you know, never anything too crazy. And then I did have to turn off my Siri because I have an Apple Home, and it would be like talking to somebody. Like I'd be sitting there on my computer just typing with my headphones on, and suddenly I'd hear Siri go, "I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Can you repeat what you said?"
No.
And I'm like, I live alone. Like,
Nope.
there's nobody else here who was talking to
Cool.
you.
No.
and-
Yeah.
I wish I had like, I don't know if there is a way to like listen to what it recorded, but I kind of wish I had, because maybe it was just a glitch, but it happened a couple
Yeah.
of times, and eventually I just had to turn it off. Then about a year later, I went to a 4th of July party, and my neighbor, Miss Pat, got real drunk, and she broke the pact apparently my neighbors had. And so she goes, "Oh, I love the renovations they did to your place. It's so much nicer than when Big George killed himself in there."
Oh,
And I was like,
Oh man.
Big George.
Big George.
Big George.
Yeah.
George.
Dang.
yeah. So, and like apparently the neighbors had told each other, like, we're not going to tell her. She doesn't need to know. Like, don't scare her. And so like I told the kids who were like, you know, adult kids, and they were like, "Oh no, she told you. Sorry, we promised we wouldn't tell you." But we've been watching it. It doesn't look like anything's happening over there.
What?
Wow.
That's
That's
exactly what
interesting.
somebody that had a haunted house next to them
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. Just
I
move
know,
in
right?
there. It's totally normal.
What the
Big,
heck?
Big George was a weird guy.
Big
okay.
George.
It's well, also just it's so funny that he wasn't just George. He was Big George. Like that.
Big George.
Yeah.
That's all I know about him. But like it tells me so much. I'm like, when you got a
Yeah.
nickname like, you know, like Epic Mike or whatever, you know, it's like that's
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
guess you might have given that to
Probably-
yourself, but
I probably
I mean-
kill myself in my bathroom. Absolutely. Yeah.
they're like
that
Epic.
Epic Mike guy. Nothing
Maybe.
happened in his house. He
Yep,
just killed
nope.
himself. In the
I have a
Big-
theory.
Big George, I just see a guy, you know, like, you know, he loves to barbecue and
Yeah.
have a good time and drink a
Yeah.
beer and
and apparently
yeah.
die.
And
And
apparently,
maybe-
apparently killed himself. It wasn't just died. He fucking
Yeah.
killed himself in my house.
He just did it.
I-
I was like,
I swear.
Do you know how he killed himself?
No, and that's
Yeah,
the thing
that's a good
is
question.
part of me desperately wants to know how he did it and where, but part of me is like,
Yeah.
no, because once I know, I can never unknow it. And if I find out that it's in my bedroom, like it's like, oh yeah, they found his body, like his brains blown out right where you sleep. Like I'll never be able
And then
to
you
like,
can like draw on the wall like Big George died here or something.
right.
yeah.
And then Big George responds to you on that wall.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Well, that would be the best part. Like you just know, and so like you just constantly like you walk into your room, and you're like, oh,
Dude, I like
oh.
what if
Yeah.
though, here's a theory. What if Big George actually didn't kill himself and he was actually murdered by the people in town?
Ooh, and he was trying
Oh,
to tell
snap.
Siri who killed him.
Uh-huh.
He's like, Siri.
He was
Oh.
trying to
The
solve.
assholes
He was
next
trying to
door,
solve
Siri,
the unsolved
they killed
murder.
Me.
It was Miss Pat.
It was Miss Pat. She murdered me. And Siri's
Miss
like,
Pat
I'm
actually is
sorry,
the
I
one.
didn't understand that. Ordering 1,200 bananas. Yeah.
And her
Like-
guilt, like that's why she got drunk and she had to tell me. But she's
Yeah.
like, she's
Yeah.
trying to throw me off, being like, "Oh, Big George, he killed himself in
Oh,
there."
snap.
Yeah. Did you know
Oh,
about
That's
that?
what I'm
It's all
saying.
coming
That's
together.
what I'm
It's all
saying.
making sense now.
It's always fishy.
It's always a
Miss Pat.
goddamn conspiracy. We always have
Question
known
everything. Question everything.
And Miss Pat has a drug addicted brother named Cowboy. I feel like Cowboy. How did he? Oh, he lost his arm. How did he lose his arm?
Miss
Probably
Pat
Big
must have
George
chopped
and
it
him
off.
threw down.
Yeah.
probably like Big George like put up a fight. You know.
Yeah.
Big George
Yeah,
was
right.
like
Uh-huh.
was like a
Big George
Sasquatch. He
yeeted
ripped
the
his
arm off. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
And
was
then Miss
Big
Pat took him out.
He ripped his arm off, and then Pat was like, "Not my brother," and then she shot him. It was a big whole thing. Wow.
Oh no, this is like
That's
some
amazing.
Tyler Perry shit.
This is getting a little out of hand.
It's amazing.
This is terrifying, but it's also the makings of a
I
good movie.
love
Kinda makes
haunted,
sense.
like haunted
Big
houses.
George and the removal of arms. Yeah.
Yes. We've always talked about going to like an asylum or something because
Yeah.
we love ghost stuff.
Well,
There's
no, hold on, stop. You two love ghost stuff, and you want to go sleep in a freaking asylum,
yeah.
Yeah.
and you want to drag me along with you because
Yes.
you think
Yeah.
it's funny because you know I will
Yes.
leave you behind.
Dude, I absolutely believe Josiah and I would make contact with some kind of spirit in a hospital.
Come do that. I want to start a after I finish. I have like my channel Daywalker Comedy, but I had an old channel called Ghosts and Stuff Inc. And it was more of like a web series. It was more like silly,
Yeah.
but it's like I want to take that channel and like revive it and either rename it to like Daywalker Supernatural or something. And I want to do like ghost hunts with my friends because I live in the South. There's so many cool,
Yes.
fun, weird
yeah.
haunted
Oh, yeah.
places.
There's
So
a
we
lot
should
of weird stuff in the South.
do
Yeah.
a tour.
Boom.
I mean,
and-
Look at this. We just upgraded like big
Honestly, okay, so I watched a couple episodes of your web series and
Yes.
I thought that it was great.
Thank
I
time.
you.
loved
It was
it.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I
This is,
appreciate
Yeah.
it.
this is our plug right here. Go check it out.
I mean,
Ghosts and stuff.
Don't check it out because I'm not going to finish it. Like I started
No,
it
no,
like
no. Watch it because you'll be angry that it wasn't finished.
Yeah.
Leave them wanting more.
And then there'll be more people to ask you to
Yeah.
finish it.
Well,
They'll be like,
it'll be awkward because the thing is, I've thought about it. I'm like, you know what? If I had the money, but also me and like my best friend had a falling out, and so when he was in it, and so I'm like,
yeah, that's
I'm-
tough.
I'll just
yeah.
have to
that
kill
makes
his,
it hard.
I'll have to kill his character off. They'll be
yeah, they
salty
all
There
get
you
about
killed
it.
by ghosts,
Yeah,
and you just
exactly.
never
Big
reference
George
it.
kills them.
Yeah,
There you go.
Big George.
Somehow all of them. I'm like, the next episode's just me, and I'm like 40 pounds fatter than and like 5 years older, and I'm like, man, it really sucks that my whole team got hit by a bus. Anyway,
Just do like a Logan thing where it's like, you know, a
5 years later.
huge
It's a complete
passage
reboot.
of time
with like,
and-
it's like a reboot. Like it's like in a dark, grizzled future where ghosts are everywhere.
There's
Ridiculous.
yeah, I would love to do some asylum tours and even staying overnight. There's
I'm
there's-
very aware of this, Ben.
There's actually some really cool places in Michigan too.
Why do you want to get us
Um,
killed, Ben?
Yeah.
we should talk. Also, you guys have to come down if you're ever down in Florida. We have to go to St. Augustine. I've been on ghost hunts there, not ghost tours, ghost hunts. That place is freaking
Yes.
haunted. Every time I've had an Airbnb there, like even if nothing happened on the tour, when I go back to the Airbnb, like one of the scariest times was I think it was a kid ghost or something because he was a douchebag. Like just like kept
those
messing.
kid ghosts.
He kept
Freaking
messing
little
with my
kids.
stuff. Like and like he would turn on the AC on and off the AC, but it wasn't when it hit the right temperature. It was literally I was trying to fall asleep and every time I fell asleep, it would kick it on. Didn't matter what temperature it was. And then like once I'd fall asleep. No, wait, once I fell
Yes.
asleep, it would turn it off and I'd wake up being like, why did it turn off? It was just constantly doing that. And then I felt somebody kept touching me. And I in the bedroom, I was like, ah. And so I went into the living room and I turned on all the lights and I turned on the TV because somehow in my head, if the lights are on and Queer Eye for the Straight Guys on my TV,
Yes.
the power of the gays will repel the ghost because they'll be so positive.
Exactly. Yes.
And
Wow.
so I was watching it and I finally, it was like, 4 a.m. at this point. I've been trying to fall asleep and I kept like hearing stuff in the kitchen. I was like, what the fuck? And then, I fell asleep on the couch because the Fab Five, like they helped me. But then I wake up maybe like 30 minutes later and I wake up and I see that the TV's muted. It's still going, but it's muted.
No.
And the remote was on the table. So it's not like I
No.
rolled on it. And
Yes.
I was like, oh, weird. Maybe it muted itself. So I tried to unmute it. It wouldn't unmute. I tried to like change the volume. I tried to manually do it. It would not unmute itself. So I tried to turn it off. It would not turn back on again. And so I was like, okay, that's fine. I've got a laptop. So I turned on my laptop and I opened Netflix on there, and I was like, sorry, I'm dropping too many F-bombs. I don't.
Oh, you're fine.
I didn't even know you noticed. I never even noticed you dropped an F-bomb.
Great. Cool. You're like, I expect crassness from you, Amanda.
No, I swear an inordinate amount. I'm the one that swears on this, so you're fine.
So it's us brown people that are the degenerates on here.
Well, no, Ben is a degenerate in ways that we can't talk about on this.
What?
He tried to manufacture a fake wife at one point, and we know he's not married.
Yeah. I have proof.
Yeah, I have visual proof that Ben literally has an antenna on his head that he hides under his hat. So,
yeah.
No, you're fine. You're completely fine.
Cool. Yeah, Ben has the look of like a guy where like after he's arrested for killing his whole family, people go, he was so nice. He was such a good neighbor. He always took the trash out.
It's always the
so
quiet
normal.
ones.
Yeah, it's the normal white guys with glasses.
I mean, Ben, she's barely knows you, and she's already figured it out.
Hey, man, I
got him.
I don't know.
Big George told me he knows everything.
Listen, saying I don't know doesn't justify the fact that like somebody that has barely knows you is like, that guy would absolutely murder somebody.
And Ben's like, well, I mean,
I don't know. I
don't know.
He couldn't have said no. That's
only
not
time. Only time will tell.
Yeah.
The eyebrows definitely didn't
I
help.
don't like that answer.
Yeah. So real quick, because back to your story. So you turn on your laptop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, so I turned on my laptop and I put Queer Eye on there. And then again, I fall asleep. And I know people are going to say, oh, maybe you were half dreaming or it was sleep paralysis or whatever, but I don't really get sleep paralysis. Like I was able to move, but I wake up and I see, like, I don't know how to describe it. You know, back in the day, I don't know if it doesn't do it now, but back in the day when you touch your computer screen, it would kind of do that. Like your dad would be like, stop doing
warbly
that.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. The warbly thing. And you're like, and your dad's like, it's going to break the screen. If you had a dad, unless he like left for cigarettes and never came home, then I'm sorry. But
my dad left well before I even knew what cigarettes were.
Oh, okay. Well, he's like, he saw Baby Mike come out with his fro and was like,
he didn't even get that far. He was like, I'm just not even going to show up.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
That way.
Well,
like I'm at this point, if I'm still struggling with it this late in the game, something's terribly wrong. So
yeah.
You don't have like a father-shaped hole in your chest.
No, Josiah's our father around here.
Yeah, Father Josiah.
This just got really sad.
Well, at some point in time, we both called him Daddy Josiah.
Yeah.
This is true.
I've been more than I have, and
I've been called Daddy by way too many people.
Yeah, it got a little weird at one point. We were like, "Dude, please stop saying Daddy so much. It's getting out of control."
I like it though because it feels very much like like very like some Little House on the Prairie, like Daddy Josiah says.
Daddy Josiah.
You better take
Daddy
out that
Jojo.
water. Daddy Jojo.
Yep.
Daddy Josiah says there are ghosts in them hills. You gotta stay back.
Gotta watch out for Big George.
Yeah.
Big George,
Big
get
George.
you.
He's out there watching.
So anyway,
I remember. I woke up and I saw it looked like somebody was like kind of like doing that, but like sticking their hand through the screen almost like it looked like somebody not like a hand, but it looked like the imprint of somebody kind of like being like, what is this? What's happening?
No way.
Wow.
And then the reason I woke up was because I heard like crinkling and I look over and again, like you might say I was half dreaming and maybe I was, but my empty water bottle was like, it's like plastic, piece of shit Aquafina thing. And it was just rolling back and forth across the table. And I remember like, that was probably the most scared I've ever been with a ghost thing. Cause I did not know how to explain that because the fan wasn't on. And it wasn't like it rolled one way and then fell off the table. It just rolled back and forth. And that's what woke me up was the sound of that. And then that's when I saw like the hand. And so I did not really get any sleep that night. And I remember, and it's funny because the ghost hunt I had been on before that, like I went there for the ghost hunt, nothing happened. Like I've gone with the same company 3 times. And the first time I got a little something on video. It's very lame. It made me realize ghosts are little bitches. But it was cool. Like we got stuff like on tape and I was like, ah! The second time, nothing happened, but that was the night that my Airbnb had a lot of activity. I was like, I wish I had like equipment and I wish I had other people because I don't want ghosts to be around me when I'm by myself. With other people, I'm like, yeah, come on, ghost, show yourself.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
Well,
yeah.
A couple things I extrapolated from that. One, the fact that you're like ghosts little bitches. What happens when you run into the one that isn't?
Oh, no, we had that on my first time we went. The first time was really active. The first time it was like, again, St. Augustine's the oldest city in the U.S., so it's from the 1500s. So it's actually older than like Jamestown. It's like a Spanish colony.
Definitely
Oh, wow.
haunted.
Definitely. Oh, and tons.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I think the river there is called like, I might be butchering this. I think it's like La Manzanita or something. There's something that's called like the Massacre is the name of the river, because they like, I think it was either the Spaniards killed like hundreds of French soldiers and like slit their throats and threw them in the river. And then you had people who died of yellow fever. You had Native Americans who were massacred there. You have Spaniards who were massacred there. The French, like everybody killed everybody in St. Augustine.
Just kill everyone. You know?
Jeez.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, welcome to St. Augustine. Bang!
Yeah, the St. Augustine hello is what they call it, or the St. Augustine goodbye. Like,
Yeah.
but if you go to the fort there, they have a little bit of a fort left over, and it's crazy because it's like, I think it's coquina or whatever is like the shells that make the fort, and it's like very hard, and you can see all the bullet holes because that was where they used to like fire, like be like, turn and face the wall, please, because apparently they were Nazis in my memory.
Yeah, well, naturally.
Spaniard Nazis. Yeah. So
We are
yeah,
from Spain.
St. Augustine, like when I was there, so when we were on the tour that first time I went, again, I was kind of skeptical because I really want to believe, but I also understand like, that's probably what we want to believe. And so we're making it fit our narrative. But we had these like dowsing rods at one point. Like we were playing with pendulums. We were doing all different stuff to kind of like just play around while we were trying to get the ghost to move the stupid ball over there. So we had the rim pod, you know, that thing where it's like the little device that I think it senses either movement or pressure changes really close to it. And it goes and like lights up if something gets close to it. And so she showed, she showed us at the beginning of the night. She's like, okay, so like if I'm like 6 feet away, it's not going to do anything. So it has to be like within like 3 feet or so. So when we're standing like really far away from it, if something lights it up, that means something is close. So we put a ball on it and we were like, all right, move the ball. And we were like waiting for like 30 minutes. We're like, all right, come on, move the ball. And like nothing was happening. So we were like, all right, let's do some other stuff. So we played with pendulums and tried to get them to like move a certain way if we asked questions. And then we had the dowsing rods. And that's when I was like, oh shit, because I had them in my hands. And I was like, okay, yeah, she's probably faking it. Like if she's holding it, she's probably swinging them. But she was having us hold them. And she's like, you ask questions. So I was like, well, shoot, like how would she know what questions we're going to ask? Like how did she plan this? And so I said, like, okay, well, which I asked the ghosts, I was like, which of us have the pink glow stick? Because we all had a different colored glow stick around our neck to kind of see each other in the dark. Mm-hmm. And I had one, and this girl over there had one. And I said, which ones of us have the pink glow sticks? And this one swung this way, and the other one swung that way. And they were in my hand. So I know that I wasn't swinging them. And that's when I was like, oh, Jesus. And then later when we were filming the ball again, because after that, you know, we turned back to the ball. We're like, okay, do you not want to play, guys? Okay, well, sorry, I guess they don't want to play tonight. And you see when she says that in the video, you'll see the rim pod like light up. Like the ghosts were like, no, wait. And you see the ball move twice. And the crazy thing is, again, if she was faking it, she would have been like, oh, look, it moved, so that, you know, we'd get our money's worth. But she's like, oh, I guess it didn't. I guess they don't want to play tonight. And it wasn't until I looked at the footage afterwards that I saw it did move twice and there was no wind. And so I sent it to her. She's like, oh, that's so cool. Like she's just so like used to it.
Wow.
So I like that. I like that she's not trying to make something happen each night. She's like, some nights they're quiet, some nights they're talkative, and she's not going to try and manufacture something, which is why I like it's the Odd Macabre Company or something like that down in St. Augustine. So anyway.
So
interesting.
Yes, Mike.
You've gone back multiple times.
Yeah.
If the first time nothing happened, I would just never go back. If something happened the first time, I don't give a fuck what it was. If that dowsing rod moved at all, like, I'm in my car heading home. Yeah.
Mike's like, I'm
and not
out.
To when I say home, I don't mean back to the Airbnb, because that's the good chance of following me. I mean, the car gets ditched somewhere and I steal another car on the way back, so it can't follow me, and I go back to Michigan.
But it's not, that's the thing though, is I'm a huge scaredy cat, but that night kind of made me less afraid of them. Like, I mean, if I'm alone and something were to happen right now, like I would shit my pants. But first of all, being in a group, it's fun. And then also the fact that like the fact that it took like a bunch of ghosts, because she claimed that there was several ghosts over there trying to move the ball. It took like 3 ghosts to move a ball like this twice. I'm like, oh, y'all are little bitches. Like, I could take you. So it made me less afraid of ghosts.
I mean, that is a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good
thing
point.
is, once again, I'm not scared of the ghost that can't hurt me. I'm scared of the big George that's hiding behind the ghost. Where like the
swole.
ball all of a sudden just flattens and disappears into like a black hole that wasn't there before.
And then Mike just feels his throat grabbed and
I'm not even kidding you. If anything moved, I'm grabbing one of them and I'm throwing them in the direction of whatever was there and I'm leaving because I don't want to die. And they came here expecting something.
we gotta get Mike to St. Augustine. I think that's the moral of the story.
That'd be fun.
It's weird that that's the moral you came up with. It's funny because
well, like Amanda said, with friends it's fun, you know? So
then you're all sleeping in my room with me. When we get there to the Airbnb,
okay, well,
we'll all cuddle.
I don't know about
that's
that.
crossing a line.
Yeah.
That's crossing a line.
No, we're all spooning on the bed together because I'm not going to die by myself in the room.
Honestly, your snores would be worse than any ghost out there.
Well, it probably would scare off any ghost. That is fair. I do snore extremely loud. But it doesn't matter. It's the principle because I can't hear me snoring. It's not white noise to me.
Ghosts would tell
Not white
stories
noise
of
to
you.
me either.
No.
It's awful noise.
You've never even been in the same room as me
You're right.
when I slept. Josiah has. I warned him.
Yeah, I thought that I'd be fine because I can sleep through pretty much anything.
I told you. I was like, dude, you don't.
And Mike was like, you're not going to want to do this. And I'm like, nah, I'll be fine. You know, like I sleep through babies crying. Like it doesn't bother me. And then we were both in the same room and I literally got like 2 hours of sleep that entire night.
Yep.
And it was rough. So never again.
Never again.
Is your wife deaf, Mike, or
no? She's just used to it now. I don't know.
just white noise to her?
We sleep like with a fan on too, so it's pretty loud. I mean, like it's always loud in our room, anyways.
Yeah,
that's
so you can't hear the ghosts screaming.
Well, that way I can't hear the ghosts. If anybody breaks into my house, you got to be really. If you want to break into the house, you just be really like the same noise that you would be normally walking into a house. I won't hear you.
Ben's taking notes when he decides to like come and like murder your whole family.
Yeah.
Like,
well, here's the thing. The only thing we've talked about this with Ben. I think it would require enough hits from Ben with any kind of blunt instrument or sharp object that I would be able to wake up in time to stop him. Because I don't think Ben could kill me even with a sword slash once.
I wouldn't even try to kill you. That's the
He'd be
thing,
like,
though.
and it would just like,
and you'd be like, ow,
dude, what are you doing? And then I'd have time to stop him. So, man. Here's the thing. Even if I'm in a room of people, I've been scared in a room of people before. Because the thing is, if it's something that's like cosmically like alive in like another realm, I don't know how big this thing is. And that's the thing I don't like, listen, I'd rather
it's okay.
hustle with something I can see. I'd rather go swimming with sharks, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't want to do that.
Oh my gosh, yes, let's swim with the sharks.
No, that's the thing. I already told you I wouldn't do that. So what I'm saying is,
Mike is basically saying that he's ready to swim with sharks.
That's not what I said.
That's what I heard there.
What I'm saying is, on the totem pole of things, I'd rather do the shark thing.
See, what I'm understanding
Why not
here
do
is
both?
Mike doesn't have a sense of adventure.
Oh
no, I have a sense of adventure, but I also have a really big survival sense where like the ghost could kill me.
The ghost can barely move a little ball, like Amanda said.
Those ghosts could barely move the ball. I'm talking about the one time we find the ghost that can move the ball and then can also move a human being.
How often does that actually happen, though?
It's funny that you mentioned that, Josiah. So, our first story.
Wait, is this actually the first good segue we've ever done here on the
Hot diggity damn. You thought I couldn't figure it out. Have you guys ever heard of the Villisca Axe Murder House?
No. Where is it? I want to
go. Tell us more, Mike.
Okay, it is in Iowa. The Villisca Axe Murder House.
Of course it's in
apparently,
Iowa.
on June 11th, 1912, sometime between midnight and 5 a.m., 8 people were bludgeoned to death with an axe inside of the home of the Moore family, including all 6 family members, 2 friends, and 2 friends of one of the daughters. 6 of the victims were children. The husband's name, coincidentally, was Josiah. I actually didn't know this beforehand. So the night of June 10th, mere hours before the killing, the family went to church, which ended at 9:30 p.m., arrived back at the house at 9:45. Cigarette butts in the attic led investigators to believe that the killer snuck into the attic while the family was out and hid there until they fell asleep. The Moore family didn't lock the doors of the house when they went to church. The parents were the first victims. I'm not going to go into super detail because this is very gory.
Yeah,
but
holy cow, that's
he
insane.
Sounds terrifying.
killed the parents first, and then went through the house and killed everyone else. Then went back and re-killed the parents, or double checked to make sure they were dead. But yeah, so like a lot of people died in this house, real bad. For people that want to look it up and read more about this, it's spelled Villisca, Villisca Axe Murder House. So we won't go into details about that, but since then, the house was remodeled and people had lived there, but apparently nobody's stayed there for very long because of the hauntings that happened in that house.
Jeez.
No families have ever stayed long. And according to this person, there's not a phenomena that hasn't been reported in the house. Disembodied footsteps, things moving, voices, apparitions, shadows, bad vibes.
That's a Gen Z
Bad
person being like,
yeah,
bad
bad
vibes, man.
Yeah.
Not feeling it.
When you first walk into the house, there's actually a board with like pictures that people have taken of like shadows on the wall, or like objects like being knocked over, and like really weird stuff on cameras. One guy, the weirdest one that I've seen in the pictures, is a guy has a picture of like a massive scratch down the middle of his back. Like it's all red and like puffy.
Wow.
Yeah. So apparently people have gone there, and even people, from what I've read, people that have even gone there, like not believing in ghosts and thinking, no, this is not a real thing, have left that place believers that there are absolutely ghosts. Let me see here. I'm trying to find exactly where
That's crazy.
Where the one story was. Yeah.
Is it an Airbnb? Because that would totally.
You can stay there. You can stay there. You can do overnight tours.
Really? Oh snap! We should make this happen.
No.
Maybe Mike would finally become a believer.
I don't want to be a believer. I'm listen, I'm enough of a scaredy cat that I don't want to be a believer of this. But yeah, so that was the Villisca Axe Murder House. There's not a ton of news about what happens to, like, because they kind of keep it under wraps because they want you to go there for yourself. But everything I've read about it, people that have gone, when they've left, they're like, oh, that place is absolutely haunted. Like, this place is terrifying.
That's crazy.
So
wow.
But that's in Iowa, which is pretty close to us.
Yeah, that is pretty close.
You shouldn't have told him that. You should have been like, "Oh, it's in Zimbabwe. Oh, I guess we can't go."
Yeah. No, he would have found a way to get us to Zimbabwe.
Josiah would have flown us out there just if Mike's agreed to go there.
Daddy Josiah's got connections.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, even like some of the big time pro like ghost hunters have gone there and been like, oh yeah, that place is absolutely haunted. Here's the story I was going to find. Apparently, there was a guy that went there, a ghost hunter, and at the house, he actually stabbed himself.
Oh.
And they were like, wait,
snap.
what? I'm trying to find exactly where he said that he did it.
That would be something Ben would do.
What?
Like stab himself.
Why me?
Because you fall off curbs and do weird stuff like that. So
all right,
of course you would stab
9
yourself.
hours and 27 minutes away.
That's not bad.
That's terrible.
We can make that happen pretty easily.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's right by the cemetery.
Apparently, it was a news story. It wasn't the guy that wrote this article because he made it sound like it was his friend. But anyways, yeah, apparently some guy went there by himself to investigate and stayed overnight, and he stabbed himself in the chest and had to be rushed to a hospital.
Would never go there by myself.
No,
they don't tell you his name, and I'm like, if you did that for clout, he would have died. Like, they just happened to go there in the morning and found that he was still alive.
Jeez.
But yeah, so a couple people that have been there, apparently that place has had some pretty nasty like stories and stuff like that.
Sounds like it. Jeez.
Yeah, you're welcome for that. You want to keep messing around?
Yeah, I'm hyped.
Go there and stay the night.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
We'll fuck around and find out.
Let's leave tomorrow morning. We'll get down there and.
No, you're supposed to not want to go there.
Do you want to know an interesting fact about haunted houses in Georgia?
Oh snap!
Yes.
So when I was looking for my house, basically that makes it sound like I was like drunk and like couldn't find my house. When I was looking to buy a house, I asked the realtor, I'm like, do they have to tell you if somebody like died there? And she's like, no. The law in Georgia is they do not have to tell you if somebody died there or even if they were murdered or killed themselves there, unless you ask. I believe if you ask, they do have to disclose that. But like if some states, they have to tell you even if you don't ask, which I imagine would suck to be a realtor because you're like, I can never sell this house. But yeah, what they do have to tell you, even if you don't ask, is if the house is alleged to be haunted. So they don't have to tell you if somebody killed themselves or like like died there, but they do have to tell you if it's haunted, which is the most southern thing I've ever heard. They're like, that's what's important.
Really funny.
That's what's important.
Now listen, the ghost
is
haunted.
Problem.
Yeah,
not anything else that happened.
That's what'll get you. Well, because I guess it makes sense in their minds because they're like, well, who cares if somebody killed themselves? It matters if you still got roommates, Like
exactly. Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Yeah,
well, it's because they want you to be able to tell
scientifically
the ghost to pay rent.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're gonna be here, you got to pay rent. You got to pay your way, man.
That's true.
That's interesting, though.
So yeah, that house is like the worst one that I've found so far because, and they're like the people that like run the tours are like, listen, we don't like to talk about the fact that some guy stabbed himself in that house because it doesn't make any sense. That wouldn't draw people to the house. So yeah.
Do you know what is one of the things that creeps me out the most? Like just as far as like a location goes.
What?
The bayou.
In Florida?
Like,
never.
No, in
Louisiana.
Oh,
never.
Like, never. I've heard like some pretty freaky stories about the bayou. It's pretty crazy. Like, they have like this. There's like a road that runs through the bayou, which is called. I think it's just called like the Bayou Road or something like that. And
on the nose.
Apparently it's like super, super haunted. And there's like all these stories of like people that people like see like hitchhikers that are walking down the road that will ask for a ride. And then when they get in, they'll like demand the people's souls from them and doing all these crazy things.
You can get
so we
the
got
hell
on
out
that
of my
road
Prius.
too, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, if you look at pictures of this road, it looks terrifying. Like all the trees that are around it. I think it's just called the Bayou Road. I think
it was a boring name.
Yeah.
I guess okay, I'm looking it up right now. The technical name is LA 57, I think. Bayou Sail Road. But it looks terrifying, and it's a road that I would definitely never go down out of my own free will unless I had friends with me, probably. But there's all sorts of crazy stories coming from the bayou, like of all these like weird people that live out there and weird cults and all sorts of crazy stuff out there in the bayou. It's
Absolutely
pretty fascinating.
Never. No, that's not fascinating. Okay, I will say this once again on Totem Pole. I'd rather be in a haunted house than drive down some road. Because that's the thing. At night, nah, forget it. Even during the daytime, no. But like, that's the thing.
And people have like people's cars break down like at a very like unnatural rate on the Bayou Road as well. So it's pretty weird.
So what makes I don't get I mean I guess I understand if you don't want the ghost to like break down your car, but like what makes you'd be trapped in a house though, Mike? Like I guess I'm not sure what makes the road less scary. Because to me it's like the open.
No. I'm saying I would much rather be in a haunted house than be on the road.
Right. That's what I meant. But you're in the house.
The road is more scary because the thing is, like, you can fit more things in the open. And the other thing is, the things in the open could be much bigger and manifest physically on the road. Like, if you're in a house with a haunted house and there's ghosts, scary ghosts. And, like, if the ghost is big enough to kill you, it's probably only one of them. And the thing is, once again, you only got to, if the first person that dies, you can leave. Like, once Ben gets torn in half by the ghost, I can run out the house and leave.
Once the ghost tears me in half,
have you ever watched a horror movie before in a house?
I have, and the thing is, the people that die afterwards, because they didn't leave. It's not because they stand there and watch it happen.
Some people try to leave, but they can't.
No. The second Ben gets lifted off that floor, I'm going out the window, and I can survive. The problem with where do you have to run? Your car breaks down, some thing is coming at you, because this is the thing.
Just run to the swamps.
The thing, no, because here's the thing.
To those foggy swamps.
Ghosts. Scary. Very scary ghosts. Blah. Thing is, bayou, there's skinwalkers, there's shapeshifters, there's witches, all kinds of crap in the bayou.
Weird inbred people that are ready to stick you in their basement and eat you.
To wear me as a skin suit.
Dude,
I have beautiful skin and a luscious head of hair. They might make a carpet out of me.
The creepiest thing about it is... The creepiest thing about it is, like, Resident Evil 7 takes place in the bayou in Louisiana.
Well,
and it's such a good setting.
Ben.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Totally makes sense.
I will say this. I would much rather run into a ghost than a skinwalker on any day. Skinwalkers terrify the hell out of me.
I mean, probably because skinwalkers you can actually see.
Yes.
There's stories of this lady that lives in the bayou.
Stop.
Who's apparently a voodoo priestess. Whose name is Julia Brown.
Stop.
And she just lives in like this weird, like abandoned, like shack out there.
Why do you
and
wanna
people
make me
just
sad?
have all these stories about her and stuff. It's pretty crazy.
Julia Brown. That's such a generic name for a voodoo priestess.
That's
though.
why it's scary
Yeah.
because she's like, "Oh, I'm Julia Brown. Welcome to my voodoo hut," and you're like, "Julia Brown," and then you die.
Mike's looking
That's
it
the
up
last-
now. He's like, yes.
No, I am looking it up. I got to find out about this.
There's if you want a more like lighthearted voodoo thing. When I was in New Orleans a couple months ago with my sister, I wanted to go on a tour. I love going on these tours, but I was like, do I go on the pirate tour, the vampire tour, the zombie tour, the ghost tour, or the history tour? And there was one tour that had all 5, and it was called like the Voodoo Lady Bone Tour, or I don't know, something like that. And in the arts, the woman has like her eyes, they're like white, and she's got like white makeup here, and she's like looks all like mystical. And if you look her up, I think her name was like April Caldwell or something. But anyway, so I went to the reviews, and all the reviews in the week we were there were like, they were good. And suddenly the week that we were there, they were like, she didn't show up. They didn't even give us our money back. Nobody's responding. They took our money, blah, blah, blah. And then I Googled it. There was an article that said she had been arrested for shooting her boyfriend that week. And so the voodoo, and it's so funny. You got to look up her mugshot because like you see her picture like of like the publicity for her business, and it looks all like mystical. And then you see her headshot, and she's just like, "Yeah, I did it."
Oh no!
And he survived, and it wasn't even the first time she'd shot him. She had shot him like a year or 2 before.
What?
What? And he was
Why
still
would
there?
you stay with her?
Wow.
Maybe she has a real. I don't know that good.
Oh my God!
Good
This is
technique.
a real mugshot.
Yeah, you found her.
Yeah.
And isn't it funny? She kind of like it's just like.
Wait, what is it?
She
What was
looks
her name?
so happy and pleased with herself.
April. What is her
I
name?
thought it was Caldwell. Yeah.
April Caldwell. Like, type in the Bone Lady. Oh my God! Like, and she just shot her boyfriend twice, and he's like, "Yeah, that's fine. I'll come back."
Yeah, he's like,
Oh wow, yeah, that's crazy.
I will not do it again. I promise.
I promise.
Yeah, she looks very
Wow.
smug right there. She's pretty proud of
Yeah, I
herself.
shot him. This isn't
Yeah.
even the first time I've done it. He came back to me too.
I don't know what's the equivalent, because I was gonna say like, when you get that good D, but like what is it for a woman? It's just like good V. Like I don't know. It's not as catchy, but like she must have something.
Yeah, she's voodoo.
Yeah,
she's got voodoo.
Yes, the
I
good V.
don't
That's
know.
what it is.
He left her, and then one day he woke up, and he was just back there again. And when she was ready already, she was like sitting in a chair waiting.
Jeez.
I've been waiting for this magic to go off for a while now, and she shot him. God damn. See, that's another thing. Voodoo scares the hell out of me too. So
Yeah.
you will find
apparently
if
there's
you ever
plenty of
come
that
back
in
on
the
this
bayou.
podcast, I will be very scared of a lot of things.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
Mike
the
is
thing is,
scared of
I like
everything.
to
Yeah.
survive.
Mm-hmm.
So like the dark void of space is terrifying because
Oh.
your head pops if your helmet cracks, you die.
No one
You're
can
just
hear you
done.
scream.
Nobody
Yeah.
can hear you scream. You can't. Yeah. You go out in the middle of the ocean. You're either going to drown or be eaten by sharks.
You're not going to be eaten by sharks, Michael.
Ben, they eat people.
They don't
It's a
eat
thing.
people.
They do eat people.
Fake news, Mike.
Ben,
I'm the resident shark expert here. Mike is not. So
Ben, I don't want to hear it from you. You've been wrong about sharks on numerous occasions.
I have not, though.
I will go back and find it. We have receipts. People get
All
bit
right,
by
good luck.
sharks.
That doesn't mean eaten, Michael.
If it bites a chunk off of you, Ben, you've been eaten by a shark. If I bite a chunk out of your arm and you're going to go, "Oh, Mike just bit me in the arm," you'd be like, "Mike tried to eat me."
No.
That's not scary. It's just weird.
This ASMR.
Listen, I just don't like the idea of dying by anything that I could have avoided completely, with the exception of skydiving. Because if you jump out of the plane and something goes wrong, you die.
Listen
There's
to
no
this
in between.
headline. Listen to this headline right here.
Don't bring up
The
more
horrifying
headlines.
story of woman who watched friends being eaten by sharks for 5 days after yacht capsized in Atlantic. They were everywhere.
Oh
Okay.
God.
What do you have to say for that, Ben? Don't say K. You just
Sounds
said they don't
like-
eat people.
Are you going to invalidate this woman's story?
Yes.
This horror story where she watched her friends
See,
get
remember
eaten?
when we talked about
Rest
Ben
in
being a little
peace.
problematic sometimes? This is
What
you can
happened
start
to
seeing
believe
it
all
now.
women, Ben?
Yeah. He just hits his desk and said nothing.
What did he say earlier when we said he was a serial killer? He's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, maybe.
I
I mean,
said only time will tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. If you go If you go out on a boat with Ben, he's going to test whether he's like, the sharks are fine, and push you overboard because he knows you'll get eaten by sharks.
No, I will be the first one to jump in there with the sharks.
Well, no, that's probably because you're an alien and you have some kind of shark repellent.
Oh,
you
yeah.
won't tell us about.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You
fair.
Cheeky, sneaky.
Of course you're not
No,
afraid
the
of
spirit
sharks,
of the
Ben.
Megatherium will keep me safe.
No, that's not a thing.
It is.
Okay, so real quick, because Amanda's new here, Ben has this very strange obsession with a creature that sounds way cooler than it actually is. It's called the Megatherium.
Okay.
Do you know what the Megatherium is? Just take a shot in the dark and guess what it is. Ben, don't say anything.
Is it like a black hole, like a sentient space being or something?
That sounds really freaking cool, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's a giant freaking sloth.
Yeah,
Oh.
it was
It's
a
just
giant, sloth. The last one
He died in a mud hole.
No. So they've
Okay,
made
Ben.
up this whole story.
No,
that,
we didn't make anything up. Go ahead and
Right.
tell us what the Megatherium is, Ben.
All right. Well, they've made up this whole story that it died in a hole, but that's
No, we
not
didn't.
true. The last one
It's
went
not made
extinct like 10,000 years ago because it was killed by people.
That's what
But
they say.
it was like a giant land sloth, and it was really freaking cool looking.
It looks like
There
a
you
giant
go. There's
capybara
Ben's
with
And it
pitch
long
for-
lived in South America.
Yeah.
It's dead. And
Yes.
it died during the Ice Age with fur.
It got yoinked.
It got yoinked by people with sticks because it was the Ice Age. And Ben's like, this thing is the coolest thing ever. And the fossils and things that they found of this thing are in like mud pits
Yeah.
and tar pits because the stupid thing was so slow. It would
It's
just
a
walk into
sloth.
tar pits and be like, oh, nah, man.
Sloths are actually
no.
incredibly stupid. So
yeah,
of
like
course
actual
they would
sloths
just die
are
in a mud
incredibly
pit.
stupid.
Well, yeah,
Ben
and
ha-
just think about a giant sloth. Like, it's probably even more dumb than a small one.
I don't know.
Yeah, because the body to brain ratio is just,
Yeah.
it's still a problem.
Yeah.
The thing died getting stuck in tar pits. And it was like, how hard is it to just walk around the tar pit?
They disrespect the Megatherium.
Regular sloths try to climb up their own limbs because they think that they're tree branches and they fall and die.
Yeah. They're like, hey, man, I'm moving super slow. I have time to figure this out. But nah, I'm good. This is
Sloths are
fine.
so dumb.
They even
Dude,
fall out of trees.
That
in
was
slow-mo.
like
It
that
was
was one of the
embarrassing.
best episodes we ever had. Was when we talked about weird animals and dumb animals.
Yeah,
glad
that
you
was
felt like that.
So
man.
good.
I mean, I'd rather be talking about that than, getting murdered by ghosts and
No,
skinwalkers
Michael, come on.
and
Go
Big
body
George.
people.
good old
Yeah.
Big George.
Yeah,
Maybe
good
Big
old
George
fr-
was a giant sloth. Maybe that's the whole
Yeah, he was a
Maybe.
Megatherium.
takeaway
was.
here.
Yep,
Yeah, that makes sense.
that's right.
You see how
Respect it
all
by
comes
calling
back
it
in
its
full
name.
circle?
Mm-hmm. So that's,
It's
Yeah.
all
that's a callback.
connected.
Yeah, it's a big wheel. Life is a big wheel. Megatherium always comes back somehow,
Yeah.
and then he dies in the most embarrassing way possible. He
Every time.
He
Big
dies.
George.
He dies
Go
spilling gumbo on himself. Is that how he died?
Oh my God! Yes.
Yes.
He probably stepped on like to really call it back. He stepped on like a tack strip or something that he had stuck down for like a bug trap. Slipped, fell, gumbo, dead.
Yep.
Dead.
That's it.
No, it was the,
Wow. And that
the gumbo, and
extravagant
then
death.
he swallowed the shrimp.
The shrimp.
Was what did it.
Yeah. But then they're like, oh man, there's no way he died like this. He probably killed himself.
Wow.
We can't do Big George like that. We got to make it seem like hardcore.
Yeah. They're like,
Wow.
man, this is embarrassing. I don't want to just say he killed himself. Don't tell
Yeah.
him how either. Just sell the
Before he
house.
dies, he just like scribbles on the wall faintly, like say I killed myself or something. Like
Not like this.
Not like this.
Oh, man. That was actually really good.
and that, my friends, is going to be the episode for today.
I tell you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out.
Pew, pew, pew.
Amanda, it was great having you on.
Fantastic.
Anytime you want to come on, you're welcome. Hopefully, we
Yeah.
didn't scare you too much. Or
No, this was fun.
I
like
think you
scaring
scared Mike more than anything, so
Yeah.
that's good.
I'm glad you guys find this so entertaining.
We love
I
scaring
love
Mike.
it.
I will not be
It's
able to
good.
sleep tonight, and that is something I am
Nice.
so freaking happy about.
I'm gonna have a good time remembering that as I'm going to sleep.
I hope
Yeah.
you have
Like, oh,
nightmares of me
Mike-
snoring, and that's what keeps you awake.
Josiah's
at
going to
night.
be smiling as he falls asleep.
Daddy Josiah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So thank you everyone for watching the episode. If you're watching us on YouTube, please leave a comment and subscribe. We would appreciate that a lot. If you're listening to us on your favorite audio podcast platform, then please leave a review. We would appreciate that greatly. Thank you so much, everyone, and we will catch you in the
Wait.
next episode very soon.
Josiah,
Yes.
make sure to subscribe to Daywalker Comedy on YouTube.
Thanks.
You have a guest.
guys.
You got to give him a plug.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, he's bigger than we are, but sure. Yeah.
Well, that's not a difficult feat because we literally just try to scare the shit out of me every episode. But no, please subscribe to Daywalker Comedy as well on YouTube.
Thank you.
And tell her to start back up her web series again.
Yes,
Yes.
and we need more ghosts and stuff.
Yes.
I also have a cool one. Speaking of the Bayou, I have one that I'm planning on trying to get out for Halloween, where it's because my family's Louisiana Creole, so I'm making gumbo. But I want to do like a period piece, like Tales from the Crypt kind of thing, where I'm like this like 1700s like New Orleans Creole woman, and I'm telling these stories that I've written based on kind of the culture and stuff. So that
is awesome.
That will ideally be on my Ghosts and Stuff channel, but I haven't decided if I'm keeping it at Ghosts and Stuff Inc. or if I'm going to change it to Daywalker Supernatural to like keep the branding.
Gotcha.
But either way,
that is awesome.
Boom.
yeah. So
I'm hyped for that.
I'm
That'll
so
be
glad
cool.
I stopped you from just ending the episode.
Way to go, Josiah.
All right, well, now I'm going to end it. So goodbye, everyone.
Bye.